There's some persons that are with us this evening that weren't with us yesterday, so I think I should do a little review on what is Yavat. Yavat is the name of the town in Vrindavan where Srimati Radharani lived for some part of her life, the part of her life where she was so-called married to her so-called husband, Abhimanyu. Have you heard about that detail? The detail, according to Vedanta Madhava, is that when Radharani was 8, she had the maturity, the physical appearance, and other appearance, emotional appearance of a girl that's 12 years old. It's called the 50% rule. What does that mean? When she was 8, she appeared to be 12. And if you remember from the Govardhan Prikrama, one of the places around Govardhan is Shambhan. Shambhan is a place within Shambhan is where Shankachuda came to kidnap Radha and the gopis on behalf of Kamsa. Remember that? Those of you that are with us? Some of you are nodding yes, some of you weren't with us. Shankachuda, Shanka means conch. He had a jewel on his turban that was shaped like a conch, and it was very bright. It was not only bright, it was self-luminous. Later, that Shanka jewel became the Shamataka jewel. There's a long story, which we don't need to narrate second time. Shankachuda was a follower of Kuvera, and somehow treasures, at least Kuvera was very rich. And persons who want to become rich, sometimes they worship Kuvera, and that was Shankachuda. And he became a close follower of Kuvera and became very rich and powerful. And so he was very proud. People that are rich and powerful, but their heart is not pure, when there's pride, then it's very dangerous. So he, long story short, he had this camaraderie with Kamsa. Kamsa heard about the beauty of the gopis. He sent Shankachuda to bring the gopis from Vrindavan to Mathura. That was his assignment. And unfortunate for him, he lost his life because he tried to kidnap the gopis. Krishna put Balaram in charge of protecting the gopis while he chased after Shankachuda. He finished him. And so that pastime took place at Shambhan. Shambhan is, you saw that aerial photo screenshot there. That was Kusum Sarovar. Kusum Sarovar is one of the most iconic pieces of architecture in the whole of Vrindavan, certainly Govardhan. So it's very near to Kusum Sarovar. So we visited there. So the reason I'm going into all this is Kamsa already knew about the beauty of Radha. And we heard yesterday that Radharani's grandmother, whose name was Mukara, she was very concerned about her granddaughter. I see some grandmothers here, and they're probably very concerned about their grandchildren. And she knew that Kamsa had his eye on Radharani, so she decided to protect Radharani, find a husband for her. And in Vedic culture, during those periods of time, young boys and young girls were married early, They didn't live together, husband and wife, but they were married, so they knew who they were married to when they grew up. So she, Mukhara, Radha's grandmother, arranged for a marriage with Abhimanyu. And Abhimanyu's ancestral home, or his mother's home, is Yavat. So when Radharani was married, she moved to Yavat. And Radharani's father was very wealthy. So Radharani's father built her a palace for her new home, like a dowry palace. So it became Abhimanyu's palace. He was very happy. He liked money. So during our discussion yesterday, some of you may remember, it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before yesterday, there was some discussion about why you were asking a question, why is there not more emphasis on why so much emphasis on Rukmini and why not more emphasis on Satyabhama? Because Satyabhama was an expansion of Radharani, whereas Rukmini was an expansion of Chandravali. You remember that discussion? You remember the discussion?
Yes.
I did some research. I said I would do some research. Here's the research. In the Chennai ISKCON Chennai temple, this is the photograph of their deities. And Rukmini is on one side, and Satyabhama is on the other side. So it's both of them. It's both of them. And now, when they before they had purchased a temple, they were renting a place while they were getting their temple built, and it was there for like so many years. This was their main deity. Now the main deity is Radha Govinda, and these are the Utsav Murtis when they have festivals. So here's their deities in different dresses, but they get equal standing. Rukmini and Satyabhama. Well, there was some discussion about that. Now, there were two more pastimes connected with Radharani and Yavat. Now, there's a transcendental service that Radharani's mother-in-law and sister-in-law did. And the service was they made obstacles. They made obstacles for Radha and Krishna to meet. And there was always some way or another for Krishna to cleverly work around the obstacle, and Radha and Krishna would meet. So it's one of those events is called, it's from, remember, there was a book written by Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur where there's 5 leelas that are described in that book, and he calls it pranks, where Krishna created a prank. So in order to get around the obstacle that was created by Jatila. So the first of these that we're going to be discussing is Radharani supposedly being bitten by a snake. And then Krishna coming as a female doctor to cure her of the snake bite. It's a very complicated story. It's very intriguing, and it worked. So I can summarize it, but I'll summarize partly and read it partly. So Jatila had it. That's it. Radharani's staying home. I'm not going to let her out of the house. Mother-in-law, not going to let her out of the house. And worse than that, although Durvasa Muni had given to Radharani the benediction, we heard the story, the pastime, that whoever ate her cooking would never become ill, would never be defeated by any opponent, would live a long life, and so many things that people want. And whatever she cooked, it would never taste the same. She didn't have to follow a recipe book. She just, whatever she cooked was spectacular. Ladies, how'd you like that one? So Radharani told her mother, Kirtida and Krishna's mother were dear friends. And as soon as Yashoda heard, oh, can you please have your daughter come and cook for Krishna every day? So of course. And Jatila put her foot down and said, no more cooking for Krishna. I've had it. There's all these rumors, and I've had it. So Radharani was forbidden to go cook for Krishna anymore. Well, it didn't happen so easily. She invited her daughter, Kutila, to carry the message to Mother Jasoda. No more cooking for Krishna. In fact, she's going to be kept indoors all day long. There's no other remedy. So carry the message. She won't go there anymore. I will personally keep vigil 24 hours a day by the outer gate with a big stick in my hand. So Kutila replies, Mata, it won't be possible to confine your daughter-in-law at all. And it won't be possible to protect her from the hand of Krishna either. For Yasoda arranges for her to come. Jatila said, dear daughter, just go see Yasoda right now and inform her that from now on, my daughter-in-law will not leave the house to go anywhere else. Yashoda should simply engage Balaram's mother, Rohini, to cook for Krishna. Kutila, Mata, if I tell her that, then Yashoda will surely say to me, but the great sage Durvasa Muni gave this wonderful benediction, this and that. My only son, Krishna, has become freed from many difficulties caused by wicked demons only on the strength of eating the food cooked by Radharani. Thus, he is now alive and well. Therefore, please, don't harm us all by causing this impediment to his regular taking of the grains cooked by Radharani's hand. When Yashoda replies like this, what should I say? When Yashoda says all that to you, then you just tell her, oh, Yashoda, yes, Durvasa Muni certainly gave Sri Radha this wonderful boon. Therefore, whoever she touches lives a long life. O knower of all the rules of proper social conduct, by that very boon, do you call Sri Radha to your house every day just to have her touch your own son? And furthermore, is it contrary to the proper rules of etiquette for chaste daughters to cook in another's home on a daily basis? Such a black spot against a chaste daughter is certainly talked about throughout all the land. Therefore, we cannot tolerate any more of this. Just as you have love and affection for your son, so do you think that we don't have similar love and affection for our daughter-in-law? Tell Yashoda all these things. And if she wants a solution, then Dinishta can Radha can cook, Dinishta can come, and she can take some cooked items to Krishna 3 times a day, not just breakfast. Okay. So thus the old woman succeeded in confining Srimati Radharani to the house. Being restricted in this way, the resultant burning suffering, which is felt by Sri Radha Krishna, due to being unable to see each other, is so intense that it could not possibly be described even by the goddess of speech, Saraswati herself. In an effort to cool down the blazing, feverish body of Sri Radha, which was burning furiously in the agonizing fire of separation from Krishna, her girlfriends made a bed of cool lotus leaves smeared with sandalwood pulp and camphor. But the very instant that her smoldering, lovesick body touched that cooling bed, the bed itself became as hot as burning embers. All this is just indicative of your unique, loving mood of ecstasy, which is such that she considers even an eye blink to be the cause of separation from seeing Krishna, cursing the Creator who made such blinking eyes that Srimati Radharani then wishes to be reborn as a fish with no eyelids. Indeed, without seeing Nandana 24 hours a day, how would it be possible for Srimati Radharani to pass the time? Thus falling down senseless upon the flower bed, burned by the fever of Sri Krishna's intense separation, Radharani became completely unaware of her surroundings. If anyone tried to address her, the words would not even enter her ear, and she just laid there with her dazed eyes completely motionless and blind. Dhanishta arrived. Dhanishta is a resident with Mother Yasoda. She came with this message from Yasoda, bring some cooked items. When she saw the condition of Radharani, she was shocked. They told her what the problem was and what they had done to try to remedy the problem. So Dhanishta, being very clever, she went over to Radharani's side, right close to her ear, and said, "Hey, Radhe, your beloved Sri Krishna is now standing right in front of you. Just open your eyes and look." Instantly, hearing this, the lotus-petaled eyed Sri Radha suddenly regained consciousness. Dhanishta quickly announced, "Sri Radhe, Krishna is not able to eat properly unless he takes the food grains which are cooked by you. For this reason, Yashoda has sent me to you. Please make him some sweet balls with your own hand." So, going from this feverish, dazed, out-of-it condition, she gets up, starts cooking. "Don't worry about my ill health." Saying this, Radharani spontaneously mounted a divine platform just in front of the stove. And so she prepared some sweets for Krishna. Within the loftiest type of pure ecstatic love, an inconceivable power of amazing wonder is present. It is wonderful because one is burned by cooling camphor and one is cooled by scorching fire. Consequently, is it possible at any time for anyone to understand such love? What to speak of understanding the activities of a person who is surrendered to such love? While she's cooking, Lalita speaks to Dhanishta. What's the remedy besides making sweets? It's a very nice composition. Dhanishta, "Oh, Lalita, what you've spoken is so true. Just as we are all miserable, in the same way Sri Krishna and all his cowherd boyfriends feel completely lost. What more can I say? Even all of Vrindavan's parrots, peacocks, bees, and deer have become greatly troubled by this agonizing misery." So Radha gave the sweets to Dhanishta, Then, listen, the plot is being hatched. Radha whispers some secrets into the ear of Lalita and the other girls. Dhanishta takes the sweets and returns home to Nandagram. Later on, in the early evening time, Vishaka suddenly rushes before Jatila and starts rolling and rolling upon the ground, loudly crying out and weeping false tears. Jatila, surprised, "Dear Vishaka, why are you crying?" "Oh, unseen by others, a snake has bitten Srimati Radharani." "Where and how was she bitten?" "The snake was hiding at the base of a plum tree in the garden. Radharani saw the jewel on its hood glittering through the leaves, and she extended her hand to take it, and the snake suddenly bit her." Jatila, "Alas, alas, has a thunderbolt struck me on the head?" Crying out like this again and again, Jatila rushed to Radharani's room and saw her sprawled out on the floor, trembling, gasping for air. Jatila began to beat her breast with both hands and crying, calling Kutila, "Go, daughter, bring your brother Abhimanyu. After sending him, go find snake bite doctors. By chanting their mantras, my daughter-in-law will be freed from the effects of the poison." Jatila then turned to Radha. "Dearest daughter-in-law, how do you feel right now?" This is part of the drama. "Oh, respected superior, by the fire of the poison, my whole body feels as if I'm burning alive. This is all I know, and I'm not able to say anything more. But you should know that if any male doctor were to set his hand as much on my toe, then I will give up my body this very instant. I'm a chaste daughter, therefore my strict vow stands firm." Jatila, "No, no, let the doctor cure your illness." Radharani replies, "Then I will give up my life right now before your eyes. Just you watch. But I'm not able to follow your order at all." Jatila became very perplexed. Just then, on cue, a neighbor arrived and advised Jatila, "Dear Jatila, there is someone here in Vraja who has chastised many powerful snakes in the past, like Kalia, Agha, and others. When all the cows had died from drinking the poisoned waters of the Jamuna at Kalia Radha, he enthused them all with new life again, merely by his glance." That was Krishna, right? "This is Sri Hari. Just bring him here. Simply by his glance, he will release your daughter-in-law from the deadly poison." Radha said, "He whose torturous, controversial association is far worse for me than the snake poison. If anyone were to bring this Krishna here to see me, then that person is good as my lifelong enemy." Jatila said, "Daughter-in-law, then I will take Kutila with me and quickly go to see Purnamasi. She is very learned in powerful snake mantras, tantra, and agama scriptures. When Purnamasi comes, then she will certainly make you well. Other than this, there seems to be no alternative." Are we okay? Table. So, Vishaka says, "Very good idea, let's go at once." And Purnamasi knows everything. So they go to visit Purnamasi. Listen carefully. There's details. After offering obeisances to Purnamasi, Jatila informed Purnamasi of everything that had taken place. Then Purnamasi inquires of Gargi. Now we discussed this. Who's Gargi? And there's two Gargi. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes her as the daughter of Garga, becomes Gargi. So who's Garga? Gargamuni. Gargamuni is a Brahmana, exalted Brahmana in Mathura. He's the one that did the name-giving ceremony for Krishna and Balaram. Gargamuni. So Gargi is Gargamuni's daughter. Gargi happens to be visiting with Purnamasi. So Purnamasi turns to Gargi and said, "My dear Gargi, did you learn snake mantras from your father?" "No, I haven't learned them, but my little sister has." The little sister is Krishna. Purnamasi inquires further, "Where does your little sister live, and what is her name? Where can she be found now?" Gargi replied, "She has come from her mother-in-law's home in Benares and is now residing at her father's house in Mathura. From there, she has come to visit me just yesterday." Krishna. Her name is Vidyavali. Vidyavali. And she is in my house around the corner right now. Jatila became incredibly anxious and desperate. "Oh, Gargi, I have fallen down at your feet. Please, please, come along with your little sister Vidyavali to my house and purchase both me and my son with the nectarine blessings of your causeless mercy." Gargi, Purnamasi says, "Please take Jatila and Kutila to your home around the corner, satisfying Vidyavali with your requests. Bring her to Yavat, and for certain she will make Radharani free from the deadly snake poison." So there's some interesting discussion back and forth. I'll not go into it's very interesting, but time. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti. So they go to see Vidyavali. Vidyavali says no. "My dear older sister, Gargi, you're indeed very learned, yet you now speak just like an ignorant person. Alas, alas. First of all, I'm a pure, chaste girl. Secondly, being the daughter of a Brahmana, I have become a doctor specializing in treatments of poisons. No one on the surface of the earth is unaware of my glorious family lineage in Mathura, the daughter of Gargamuni, or my famous in-laws' lineage in Benares. Still, you want to throw the mud of such scandalous, unchaste infamy all over my two pure dynasties. Whatever kind of loving action is that you think of, that you're doing, I'm not able to understand it at all." Jatila, "Oh, please do it anyway." "My dear old lady of Vraja, you're obviously unaware of the elevated rules of conduct practiced by our pure Brahmana family. The learned, chaste daughters of the Brahmana caste never, ever wander from house to house like a simple cowherd girls do. Do you know this? Don't you know this already? By going to anyone and everyone's house, the superior aristocracy of the Brahmana's daughters is completely destroyed. She's giving, she's going to have another big no answer. Gargi contradicts her statement. Sister Vidyavali, although you are certainly aware of all the prescriptions and prohibitions of the scriptures, how do you manifest your so-called aristocracy by disrespecting the great souls who are residents of Vraja? This shows that you actually don't have any spiritual vision at all. You have no idea of the spiritual position, the divine nobility of Vishnu Bhakti of the Vrajavasis. All the gopis are each endowed with glorious achievements of great renown, and the gopas are each as effulgently brilliant as Maharaj Vrishabhanu. The Brahmanas of Benares are all impersonalists and are thereby averse to Lord Vishnu. I know about your husband's relatives there. By living there in Benares and associating with such aristocratic relatives, you have really become hard-hearted. Vidyavali. Oh, most noble, educated sister, I am always surrendered unto you. As you say, but I have just one terrible fear. Krishna, if I go walking between here and there, if he even glances at me, my reputation will be ruined. It goes on and on and on. He's bad. So I don't even want him to even see me. So Gargi says, don't worry, I'll go with you, I'll protect you. So she agrees. It's Krishna. On the way, Vidyavali says to Jatila, my dear old lady, snake poison is destroyed by mantra and medicine combined. The mantra is simply my chewed betel leaves, which have been sanctified by mantra. Oh, respectable superior, do you think your daughter-in-law will be able to chew that? My daughter-in-law is very well behaved, and she is natural devotion for the Brahmana caste, but it seems rather strange that she should have to chew the remnants of your betel leaf. Gargi is the third person, so it's Jatila, Vidyavali, and Gargi, the older sister. When it comes to medicine, there's no consideration for that which is fit or unfit for eating. Even a king would honor the remnants of the Brahmana caste. Therefore, the Vaishyas and other castes certainly follow suit. So Radha's going to have to take Vidyavali's chewed betel nut remnants. So it goes on, like lots and lots of details. Vidyavali tries her mantras, it doesn't work. Then Vidyavali repeatedly chants the Garuda mantra more intensely and begins to vigorously massage Radha's body. Then Vidyavali exclaims, ah, lady, what has happened? There seems to be no way I can check the spread of the poison. What should I do now? Oh, Vidyavali, feed her that medicine you told us about. Then the poison will surely be reduced. Vidyavali says, alas, old lady, again and again I chant the mantra and sprinkle the medicine into your daughter-in-law's mouth, but she still simply turns colors and trembles while exhaling very heavy sighs. This shows that the treatment didn't work at all. Under these circumstances, we'll have to try another type of treatment. Now, all of you immediately go out of the room. Locking the door from the inside, I will chant a special snake mantra. This is critical part of the story, so you got to listen. Very critical part of the story. Within 3 hours, that very snake which bit your daughter-in-law will be brought here, and I will indeed speak with him. Hey, old lady, don't you worry at all. I'm doing all this just to revive your daughter-in-law. I will now chant the mantra with absolute fixed attention, and I'll show you that everything will be all right within 3 hours' time. So the door's locked. They're on the other side of the door. 3 hours pass. And they're standing at the door, and they hear a conversation on the other side of the door. Sri Krishna, the abode of artistic abilities, then makes his voice imitate the sound of both Vidyavali and the snake. All of Srimati Radharani's girlfriends, knowing full well of this mischievous fun, simultaneously become deeply immersed in the ocean of curious, novel pranks, as well as the ocean of ecstatic bliss. Krishna, first of all, makes the voice of Vidyavali, speaking to the snake. My dear king of the snakes, from where have you come? From Mount Kailash. Under whose direction? I'm carrying out the order of he who wears the crescent moon on his head, Lord Shiva. What is his order? To bite the son of Jatila Abhimanyu. What is the offense committed by Abhimanyu? Nothing at all. But his mother, Jatila, has committed 2 grave offenses under Durvasha Muni, the best of sages. Vidyavali, then why didn't you bite the mother of Abhimanyu? I didn't bite her for biting her son. Instead, I will be able to burn her extremely miserable suffering and lamentation on account of the loss of her only son. This would be even greater burning than the poison itself. Then you didn't bite Abhimanyu, your wife, Radharani. Why? Listen. By the power and influence of the boon of chastity given to the supremely pure Radharani by Durvasha Muni, her husband Abhimanyu has become free from all obstacles. He's eaten the food cooked by Radha, so he can't be harmed. Thus, by biting his dear wife, he would certainly die due to lack of life. This is why I've bitten her today, and tomorrow morning I will bite Abhimanyu anyway. In this way, Jatila will burn miserably in her old age, lamenting bitterly over the loss of her dear son and matchless daughter-in-law. This is my purpose. Oh, king of the snakes, what were the 2 offenses committed by Jatila unto Durvasa, the best of sages? The king of snakes. Durvasa was born as a plenary portion of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva considers Lord Hari to be his own worshipable Lord. Lord Hari's plenary portion is Sri Krishna, against whom Jatila spoke some false Scandalous, blasphemy. This was the first offense. The second offense is that Jatila confined Srimati Radharani indoors, thus placing a deliberate obstacle in the way of Sri Krishna taking of regular meals. Due to the set of these two offenses, may Jatila perpetually cry miserably here in Vraja, along with her daughter Kutila, over the loss of her dear son Abhimanyu and her daughter-in-law Srimati Radharani. Now there's people hearing from the other side, especially Jatila. Jatila bursts out weeping. Oh, my son! Oh, my daughter-in-law! The source of my very breath! May you both live long lives! How can I hear of anything other than this? So through the door, Jatila calls to Vidyavali, who's speaking to the king of snakes. Oh, Vidyavali, I hold on to your feet. Please pacify the king of snakes. Somehow or other, I promise. This is the purpose of the pastime. I will never, ever place any more obstacles before Srimati Radharani. I will personally see that she goes to Nandagram every day just to cook Sri Krishna's meals. And when she returns home, after finishing her cooking, then I will bow down and offer Durvasa Muni hundreds and hundreds of obeisances while praying, oh, best of the sages, please forgive me. My intelligence has become dull due to becoming senile in my old age. And on the other side, I am known to be quite crazy anyway. Therefore, please don't take my offense seriously. As for my daughter, Kutila, she's really dull-brained and foolish. She continuously causes trouble and pain for my well-behaved daughter-in-law for no good reason at all. Hearing the statements of her mother, Kutila falls to the ground, offering obeisances unto the snake from the other side of the door, while loudly proclaiming, oh, king of the snakes, please forgive us. Please be merciful. Please don't bite my brother. I will never again hinder Srimati Radharani. I will never, ever argue with her. From now on, I will allow her and her girlfriends to go anywhere and everywhere they like. Snake. O assembled witnesses, listen carefully to what I say. I swear by Lord Shiva that Srimati Radharani is supremely pure and chaste. Then to Jatila. O old woman Jatila, just as I've sworn by Shiva to attest for the chastity of Sri Radha, in the same way I want you to swear upon the head of your own son Abhimanyu and say, now I have complete absolute faith in Srimati Radharani. Then I will know that you have true conviction for my words. So she doesn't. Oh, Jatila, now I have really become fully pleased with you. Just worship Durvasa, the best of the sages, and prepare nice edibles. I will now remove all the poison from Radharani's body and go back to Mount Kailash. Old woman, if you ever again charge your daughter-in-law with any kind of false accusation in relation to Sri Krishna and try to confine her as you've done today, then I won't be angry with you at all. I will simply come immediately and angrily bite both Radhika and Abhimanyu, completely destroying them simultaneously. Vidyavali then happily calls out to all the ladies and girls outside in the next room. Oh, dear friends, may all of you now achieve the topmost bliss. The king of snakes has removed the poison from Sri Radha's body and has disappeared. Thus, Vrishabhanu Nandini is now cured. Vidyavali unlocks the door. Everyone enters and begins to ask, "Oh, Radha, how do you feel now?" "Now I feel perfectly healthy. Not even a trace of pain is left." Hearing this, everyone present bows down at Vidyavali's feet and begins to pray. "Dearest Vidyavali, your knowledge is glorious, and your wonderful achievement today is glorious. Thus, by reviving Srimati Radharani, you have certainly obtained vast pious credits, whereby your life has become glorious." So it ends with a happy story. So it ends with Radharani's thoughts in relation to Krishna. Now, I don't know how we're going to do all this when we go to Yavat, and we only have an hour, and it's going to be 550 people crowded around. I don't know how it's going to work. I'll just have to summarize it. But so I think I'll refer to, when I was in Naperville, I recorded the whole pastime. You can just go to the YouTube link and hear the whole story. Here's the 5-minute summary. So that's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and his description of this nice pastime of Radharani bitten by a snake, and the snake doctor comes to cure her. Here's a painting of the palace that Rishabhanu built for his daughter when she married Abhimanyu and went to live in Yavat. This is another pastime that's described elsewhere, and it begins with, forget the source, Vedanta Madhava, I think. It begins with Abhimanyu hearing so many stories about his wife and Madhava, meaning Krishna, meeting together, and he's kind of made up his mind, I'm going to leave Vrindavan. So he goes to find Purnamasi to get her blessings. And when he goes to find Purnamasi, it happens to be Shravan Purnima. That's the Purnima just before this Kartik month. And he consults with her. And he says this is what he wants to do and why. And back and forth, a whole bunch of conversation. Purnamasi says, these are just rumors. Don't listen to rumors. I'll tell you what. If you can catch them red-handed, mixing together, then you can leave. You can go to Mathura. So Abhimanyu is satisfied. Okay, I'll find a way to catch them red-handed. Then he has a second, disclosing his mind. He says to Purnamasi, could you train my wife in worshipping Gauri? Because I understand that Govardhan Malla has become rich because his wife, Chandravali, she worships Gauri, and now he's become rich, and I want to become rich. Can you teach my wife how to worship Gauri? Purnamasi smiles, sure, I can teach her how to worship Gauri. Thank you so much. And he departs. Shortly after he departs, who should arrive but Vrinda Devi? Now, if we have time, we're going to visit Vrindakund, where Vrinda Devi resides and presides. So Vrinda Devi comes to see Purnamasi. That's who's standing with Purnamasi in front of the palace at Yavat. There's Radharani upstairs. And Vrinda Devi says to Purnamasi, Krishna sent me to see if an arrangement can be made for Krishna to meet with Radharani. And she says, oh, it's very good. This is Shravan Purnima. It's a very auspicious time for elevated persons to meet together. Surely we can make some plan. And as she's speaking, who should arrive but Lalita and Vishaka? And the Lalita and Vishaka are involved in the plan, making a plan for Radha and Krishna to meet. Lalita and Vishaka say, just now we've been told that Chandravali and her good friend Padma are on the way from their home, Govardhan Malla's home, to meet with Chandravali's parents, her mother and father's home. And they'll pass by Gauri Kund on the way. And so, sure enough, they depart, and Chandravali and Padma are passing by Gauri Kund, and who should show up but Krishna? Because he knew of the whole plan. And when Krishna confronts Chandravali and has some funny conversations, he tries to embrace Chandravali. And just as he tries to embrace Chandravali, Chandravali's grandmother comes. And she blasts Krishna and Chandravali and scolds him badly and takes Chandravali back to her home. Now Padma is with her. Padma thinks that it's Lalita that told my grandmother, or told Chandravali's grandmother. So I want to get back. It's part of the intrigue. So after Krishna's interaction with Chandravali and Padma and Chandravali's grandmother, Radharani is on her way, sent by her husband, to Gauri Kund to begin worship of Gauri, because Purnamasi has taught her how to do the worship. And as she's going, carrying water and gathering flowers, Krishna confronts her, blocks her path, tells her she can't pass. She's haughty. Get out of the way. Who do you think you are? I'm going to worship Gauri. And as Krishna speaks to Radharani deliberately, he addresses her as Chandravali. And she becomes really ticked off, really mad. And the purpose of that, according to the commentators, is he wants a change of scene. The change of scene is Vrinda Devi comes right at the right time, and Vrinda Devi has storerooms, we'll hear this if we get to Vrindakund, all over Vrindavan. She's in charge of the whole forest. And for pastime purposes, she does all kinds of things in all kinds of ways. It's a Gauri costume for Krishna. The Gauri is golden in color, and Krishna is blackish in color. So the costume is complete. And you notice on Vrinda Devi's left hand, there's a yellow parrot. Vrinda Devi is a sister of Lalita. And Lalita has a parrot. And Vrinda Devi has a parrot named Daksha. And Daksha is Daksha. He's very expert. And Vrinda Devi speaks to the parrot, Daksha, what the plan is for Krishna's pastime for that day. And Daksha has, according to our acharyas, 100,000 assistant parrots that fly all over Vrindavan and carry messages here and there and set up arrangements for Krishna's pastimes. So Vrinda Devi got a message that Krishna is going to come, and Krishna wants a Gauri costume. You know who Gauri is? I'm looking at you. You know who Gauri is? Gauri? Gauri is a name of a goddess, one of the expansions of Durga. You know who Durga? No? One of the female expansions of Krishna's external energy, Gauri. So, Krishna's now got his Gauri costume, and he's going to Gauri Kund, where there's the Gauri temple. Meanwhile, the plot thickens. Padma, who was with Chandravali when her grandmother came, thinks that Vrinda is the one, or excuse me, Lita is the one that told Chandravali's mother that they were going to meet. So she, Padma, goes to Yavat and tells Jatila, guess what? Krishna is going to be meeting with Radharani at Gory Kund and Gory Tirtha. So immediately, Jatila tells her son, and off they go. Abhimanyu and Jatila go off to catch Radha and Krishna red-handed. Got it? When they get there, there's Gauri, as in Krishna's costume, Gauri, standing in front of the deity as if the worship that Radharani has begun is so fantastic that the deity personified has stepped out of the deity and is standing in front of the deity. And that's Krishna in his Gauri costume. And as they come, Jatila and Abhimanyu say, "Aha! We caught you red-handed." And Gauri says, loud enough for Abhimanyu to hear, "Oh, Radha, do not make such a difficult request." And Abhimanyu says some insulting things again to Radha. And then he wants to know, what's that difficult request that Radha's making? And Gauri says, it's too difficult to speak. I don't want to even say it. "Oh, brave Abhimanyu, Radha is requesting for the removal of a great disaster which is sitting on your head." "What's that? What's that?" "I can't say it." "Vrinda Devi, you say it." "Oh, Abhimanyu, the day after tomorrow, King Kamsa is going to cut off your head and offer it to Lord Shiva." "Oh, no." The Gauri deity has told Vrinda Devi, who's now letting Abhimanyu know, Kamsa is going to come the day after tomorrow and cut off his head and offer it to Lord Shiva. "Gauri, please do something. I don't know how you know this, but please do something. Please stop this from happening." So Radha has made this request of me, and oh, Radha, I do not take much interest in the prayers of the sages and yogis, but the rope of devotion with which you have bound me forces me to bless you. But on one condition, you must never leave Vraja and always render service unto me. Krishna speaking. Abhimanyu promises, I promise. We'll never leave Vrindavan. We'll never go to Mathura. Radha can stay here and come and worship you every day. Please save my life. Jatila appeals the same. Yeah, she can come every day and worship you, Gauri. Very well. So now they leave, and she says, he turns to Jatila and says, let's cancel all the plans for leaving. We'll just stay here in Vraja and be happy. So Radha can worship Gauri every day. Now this place, Gory Tirtha and Gory Kund, there's no Gauri temple there anymore, but it's, if you remember from our Govardhan Parikrama, it's very near to Sankarshan Kund, which is very near to where the Gopal deity was up on top of the hill. Remember? Some of you weren't with us, but the Gopal deity was found by Madhavendra Puri, the long, nice story that we heard when we visited Govardhan Hill there earlier during this visit. And he found the deity, he installed the deity on top of Govardhan Hill, worshipped the deity, etc., etc. And there's a temple on top of Govardhan Hill. At the base of the hill is Sankarshan Kund, and across the Parikrama path is Gauri Kund. Today, the very place is there. But this pastime took place when Krishna was there. So here's a close-up of that same painting. There's Krishna doing his magic. Down in the front, you see there's Madhu Mangal with his bowl of ladus. Bewildered over there is No, Jachila and Katila were off to the left. So now, who should arrive but Purnamasi? Vrinda Devi, looking at Abhimanyu, says, that man who wrongly accuses a chaste wife of infidelity will cut short his lifespan. Gauri Devi declares it's the reason for his head being cut off, as he had falsely accused Radha of being unfaithful. Gauri Devi, oh, most fortunate Abhimanyu, Radha is the source of your good fortune, so do not mistrust her. Oh, goddess, Subal, remember the pastime with Subal? Subal, acknowledgement, yes? Subal has a complexion like Radha's, so that we heard yesterday a pastime where he had Radha dress up like him, and he dressed up like Radha, so Radha could leave because she was confined by Jatila. Subal sometimes dresses up like Radha and jokes with my jealous, envious mother. So now, Krishna says to Purnamasi, Radha's great fear has been removed, and the disturbance in her mind has been destroyed. The Sakis have attained great bliss. Now, how may I serve you? So, in other words, Purnamasi's made all these wonderful arrangements. What can I do to serve you? And the conclusion of this pastime? I am personally very happy, fully happy. But I still have two requests. Please, always enjoy in the kunjas of Vrindavan with Radha. And any devotee in whose ear a small drop of this nectarian pastime enters, let him or her attain a loving affection to your lotus feet, just like Radharani's. And that's the end of the pastime. Gory Tirtha Leela. And we're going to move now. Some of you have been to Vrindavan. If you haven't been to Vrindavan, may you one day go to Vrindavan. We'll be going, some of us will be going. And very near to Yavat is a place called Ter Kadamba. Ter Kadamba is a place where Radha and Krishna would meet. Because between Yavat and Nandagram is Ter Kadamba. Not so far. So every day when Krishna would come home from herding the cows, he would climb up one of the Kadamba trees and call. Ter in local language means to call. He would play upon his flute, and his flute didn't just make a flute sound, he could do many things. He called the names of the groups of cows. Nanda Maharaj had 900,000 cows. That's a lot of cows. Are you a cow? Working on it, right? Okay. 900,000 cows were in groups. So Krishna called the names of the groups with his flute on top of a Kadamba tree. And when the cows would hear the name of their group, moo, the whole group would respond. Their ears would stick up, their tails would stick up, and they would come running, because it means now it's time to go to the Goshal. And then he'd call the next group and call the next group. But sometimes he would climb up that Kadamba tree, because there's a whole Kadamba grove. Ter Kadamba is a grove of Kadamba trees. And he would call upon his flute, calling the gopis to come join him for rasa dance. So that's how it got the name, Ter Kadamba. So it's a nice meeting place of Radharani and Krishna. Here's where it is. Here's a map of Vrajamandala. And the lower arrow points to Radhakund, and the upper arrow points to Nandagram. Nandagram is where Krishna lived. And The upper arrow descending down points to Yavat. So Ter Kadamba is in between those two places, Nandagram and Yavat. It's on the western side of Vrindavan. Here's a photo of a Kadamba tree, and on the right side is the Kadamba flower. Kadamba flowers are round like golf balls. They have different sizes and different colors, and sometimes they're used to make garlands, Krishna-like Kadamba flower garlands. And when we visit Ter Kadamba, here's the entrance. We're going to go inside, but you see that there's a little walkway. And when we go through that walkway, there's a temple. Small. And inside the temple, there's a painting of a pastime that took place at Ter Kadamba, which we'll narrate briefly. But normally there's a deity on the altar. The deity, when visitors come, are taken off the altar. The painting is put there. And over to the side, we'll see the deity, Krishna Balaram deity, shortly. But notice above there's a brass plaque, you see, above the altar. And it's in Sanskrit. And the prayer above the altar at Ter Kadamba was written by Vraja Goswami. And it's a prayer that's honoring Rupa Goswami. Adadanas Trana Dantayar Idam Yache Panak Panak Shridam Rupa Padam Boja Rajoham Syam Bhave Bhave. Translation: taking a blade of grass, trin, between my teeth, adadanas, Trana Dantayar, I repeatedly beg, punat punat, birth after birth, that I may obtain the dust of Rupa Goswami's lotus feet. Shrimad Rupa Padam Boja Rajoham. Raja Ham Shyam Bhave Bhave. This is from one of his books. Raghunath wasn't a big author. He wrote a few books. They're very just nice pastime. Dana Kelly Chintamani is a pastime of Krishna's taxing the gopis. We heard about it. In fact, we saw the place at Govardhan Hill. You remember? Those that attended the Govardhan. If you didn't attend, review the YouTube recording, because it's really nice. I feel it's really nice. It's like going to Vrindavan virtually. If you can't go with your feet, you can go with your eyes and your heart. And see that. So there's a place where this tax pastime occurred, and Raghunath Das Goswami wrote a drama about that pastime. And in the drama, at the very beginning, is this glorification of Rupa Goswami. Another book called Mukta Charitam, he has the same beginning, but it ends slightly differently. Shrimad Rupa Padam Boja Duli Syam Janma Janmani. Raghunath is very attached to Rupa Goswami. The dust of the feet of Rupa Goswami. Here's the Krishna Balaram deities that are normally on the altar. Above the altar is that plaque that has this prayer honoring Rupa Goswami. And here's the deity on a little altar. When pilgrims come, the pujari takes the deities off the altar and places them on this altar over here. And here's a close-up while they're sitting on that little throne. When you go inside, there's all these mangled old trees. These aren't Kadamba trees, some other kind. And here's the priest or the pujari or the baba who looks after the place. And he's very entertaining and funny. Pretty modern, their headset he's got there. To tell, when people come, he likes to do a little drama. Radha and Lalita and Krishna, it's funny. And I'm going to have to convince him not to do it because we're not going to have time when we go there. I just looked at the schedule today and it's not going to have time. But he's a nice person, very nice. You can see he's very happy. This is the painting that goes on the altar. This is an ISKCON art painting. And it's a painting of a Kadamba tree, And beneath the Kadamba tree is Rupa Goswami writing. One of his major work was done largely at this place, at Ter Kadamba. And it's said when he was writing pastimes of Krishna that were very sad, transcendentally sad, the leaves of the trees would fall from the tree to the ground. And when he would write pastimes that were very joyful, the leaves would quickly spring back and come in full manifestation, and the Kadamba blossoms would come. In other words, his mood was so strong that even trees were affected, what to speak of everybody else. So one day when he was engaged like this, he was thinking of the fact that that particular day was his brother's birthday. Rupa Goswami's brother's name? Sanatana Goswami. It was Sanatana Goswami's birthday. And he wanted to do something for his brother on his birthday. That's all. He just had a desire. But what happens if you're a transcendentalist and you have a desire to serve a Vaishnava? It's fulfilled. So how was it fulfilled? From the painting, you see one village girl came walking along a path and came right to where Rupa Goswami was writing and said that she was sent by some local people. There was a wedding in the area, and they knew that it was Sanatana Goswami's birthday, so that they sent her with milk, sugar, rice, ghee, camphor, and saffron to make sweet rice for his brother's birthday. So Rupa Goswami was very pleased. I don't know how they knew it was Sanatana Goswami's birthday, but how very kind of them. And so what happened, he stopped his writing, he prepared the sweet rice, and he went to go visit his brother. And his brother, during that particular point in time, was nearby, about half a kilometer away. Hey, stop. About a half a kilometer away, at a bhajan kutir in a very secluded place near Pavan Sarovar. Shortly we're going to see some photographs of Pavan. Sarovar means lake, and Pavan means pure or clean. Pavan Sarovar is a place where Nanda Maharaj and Krishna would bathe every morning, and on the other side where Mother Yasoda would bathe every morning, and so forth. So it's right near at the base of Nandagram, right there. So to be close by all of this, Sanatana Goswami had a bhajan kutir place. So Rupa Goswami made some sweet rice. He brought the sweet rice. He gave it to his brother. Happy birthday. Not cake. It was sweet rice. And Sanatana Goswami was very grateful. He said, let me try it. He offered it to Krishna and tasted the sweet rice. And it was out of this world. And he said, this is amazing. Where did you get these ingredients? The Rupa Goswami said, there was a wedding, and the village ladies said to bring these ingredients so I can make sweet rice for your birthday. Sanatana Goswami said, I know this whole village, and there's been no wedding in this area. Can you describe the young village girl that brought the sweet rice? And as he started describing, it became very clear to both of them. It was Radharani. Radharani came to serve Sanatana Goswami to make ingredients, to provide Rupa Goswami ingredients for his birthday, sweet rice. Sanatana Goswami was horrified. This is very bad. Our life is to serve Srimati Radharani, and now you're engaging me in taking service from Radharani. This is very bad. But the sweet rice is so good. Why don't you try some? And they finished all the sweet rice. The place where Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir looks a lot different today than it did 5 years ago, looks a lot different than it did, 500 years ago or 400 years ago. It was very secluded. Now, as you see, there's a gate, and, a gate that blocks off people that don't belong there. They can't get there. Standing in front of the gate is Dina Bandhu. Some of you better hurry up and get to Vrindavan, because Dina Bandhu is getting older and his health is not so good. We probably won't be able to take part in our parikrama this year because his health is bad. So better get there quickly. But he's a celebrity in Vrindavan. He's American, but he not only speaks Hindi and Sanskrit, he speaks Braj. He speaks with them like their native tongue, and they know it, and he knows that they know it, and they love him, and he loves them, and he is a Brijvasi, although he wasn't born there. And he's accepted like that. He's a sadhu, definitely a sadhu. And here's a photo of looking down upon the now Bhajan Kutir of Sanatana Goswami. Again, it looks today very different than when it used to look like, I can tell you. So here's the two domes, and here's on the right side, this is what the Bhajan Kutir looks like today. The other dome isn't as fancy on the outside, but it's the place where Bhajan Kutir of Akinchana Das Babaji, who is a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta and a very dear friend of Srila Prabhupada. They had wonderful activities together, lots of nice stories. So moving along, here's Pavan Sarovar. Just on the opposite side of Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir is Pavan Sarovar. It's described in Mathura Mahatmya, which is from Padma Purana. One who bathes in Pavana Lake by Nandishwara Hill will see Krishna there, along with Nanda and Yashoda, and all his desires will be fulfilled. Want to go? Let's go. There's the place. Look at how nice it's kept. Doesn't look like India. It looks like something else, like out of a picture book. It's said that one of the Gopas, cowherd boys, named Pavana Gopa, he constructed this. He's the father of Vishaka. On the right-hand side, you see the domes. That's the domes of Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir, and next to him, Akinchana Das Babaji. And across the way, you see that yellowish building. The yellowish building is where there's a temple. We'll see the temple deity shortly. And here, there's a well from taking the Pavana Sarovar water, from which Radharani drew water every day before going up the hill to cook for Krishna. At Nandagram, there was a special kitchen where it was just Radharani's kitchen, and she would cook for Krishna. There's the Pavan Bihari temple on the opposite side, and here's the Radha Pavan Bihari deities. And here's a close-up of Pavan Bihari. Now we're going to quickly go up the hill to Nandagram. The local language speaks like that. And we'll hear a little bit about how Balau and Asheshavat. Here's from a distance, here's a photograph of Nandagram or Nandagaon, local language. And the structure that's there is, of course, relatively new, a few hundred years old, but very, very wonderfully done. And Nanda Maharaj, the history is, this is the ancestral place of Nanda Maharaj. And At some point in time, there were no children, so he and Kirtida, they moved to Gokul, where Krishna became their son. At 3 years, 4 months, they shifted from Gokul to the west side of the river Jamuna, where they stayed at Chatikar for some time, and then switched back to Nandishwar Hill. This is what the temple looks like. Very nicely constructed, very large and spacious. I'm pretty amazed that the children are doing as well as they're doing, because there's lots of young children. Really easy to get restless when. Although there's nice stories. You like the kids, girls? You like the stories? These are nice stories. Yeah. You like? Okay. That's why you're still sitting here. If you didn't like it, you'd be somewhere else. It is said that Krishna appeared before Sanatana Goswami while he was residing at his bhajan kutir. Krishna appeared before him and informed Sanatana Goswami that in a cave there are some deities of Krishna and Balaram and Yasoda and Nanda. So he went to the cave, and sure enough, here's the deities. Now, Krishna and Balaram are at the center, and Yasoda and Nanda on either side. And on the left side, somehow went off the screen, it's Radha, that's the tall deity, and below Radha, it doesn't show so well, we'll see some other photo it shows better, is the father, the wife of Balaram. Who's the wife of Balaram? Revati. Revati and Balaram's mother. Balaram's mother's name? Rohini. So Rohini's taller, Revati's shorter. And over on the right side, as we're looking at the altar, there's Krishna's dear friends, Sudama and Madhumangal. Here's another photo of the central altar, Yasoda and Nanda, with a nice big mustache, and Krishna and Balaram in the center. And there's Radha on the altar's right or our far left. Now, in the courtyard, when you go outside the main temple, just outside the main temple, there's a mandap, a place for kirtan, etc. And over by the side of the mandap, there's a Shivalinga. There's a Shivalinga which will tell the story shortly, but Lord Shiva once came to visit at Nandagram. And the long story I'll tell later, but he just wanted to see Krishna, the little boy Krishna, because he's Krishna's devotee, and he wanted to take the remnants. So what they do is, after making the offering on the altar, they bring the remnants from the altar to Lord Shiva, because that was his desire. Now, sometimes it's described that Nanda Maharaj and the elders, Nanda Maharaj was the middle brother of 5. The eldest brother was Upananda. The next brother was Sunanda. And then there was Nanda. And then 2 other, Nanda this and Nanda that. So Upananda, the elder brother, would sometimes speak to Nanda Maharaj, you're not offering proper respect to Krishna, your son. He's a very special person. He's not an ordinary human child. And so Nanda Maharaj would start laughing and laughing and laughing. Great personality. When there's lightning and thunder, he starts crying and he comes trying to hide underneath my cloth. He's always running here and there and stealing things. when difficulty comes, he just cries and cries and cries. And you think he's a great personality. And he started laughing and laughing and laughing. Because that's Nanda Maharaj. He just sees Krishna as his lovely little son. He can't see otherwise because of his particular bhava, his particular mood of love. There's a celebrated story about how Balau. There's no such thing. But one time, Mother Yasoda was cooking for Krishna for his lunch, and she asked Rohini, bring the boys, bring Krishna, because it's time for lunch. So Rohini went and tried to bring Krishna to have lunch. Mother Yasoda's asking. He didn't even listen to her. The boys were saying, don't listen to her. We're having too much fun. She just ignored Rohini. So Rohini went back and told Yasoda, I think you're going to have to go because he won't listen to me. He won't even pay attention. So Rohini, you finish the cooking. I'll go get him. And when she went to get Krishna, the boy said, look, if you leave, we're not going to play with you anymore. We're having too much fun. You can leave, but we're not going to play with you anymore. So he ignored her. So she pulled a trick, transcendental trick. She pointed in the distance and called out loudly, oh no, here comes How Balau. And Krishna said, what's How Balau? And Mother Yasoda said, How Balau has big, sharp teeth and big eyes and sharp claws, and here he comes, look out! And she started running. So Krishna started running after her. And that way Mother Yasoda got Krishna to come have his lunch. So later, because Krishna didn't want the word to go out that his mother told lies, he told his mother, we saw How Balau. And she said, Nanda, I just made that up. There's no such thing as How Balau. And he pulled her sari and said, come, we'll show you. And she saw the How Balau and she ran. And so there used to be 5 of these. Somebody helped themselves to some of them, but there's the How Balau. And right next is a broken How Balau. These are treasured items, I guess, for some people. At the base of Nandagram is a Sheshavat. Vat means forest. And there's 2 domes that you can see there. And one of the domes is for the temple of Lord Shiva, because the description is, once Lord Shiva came to visit in Nandagram, and Mother Yasoda saw this ashes smeared, thin-looking, scary person that wanted to see her son. So she said no. So he left. And then Krishna started to cry. And he started to cry and cry. Whatever she tried to do, she tried to get doctors, nothing would work. She thought, maybe I've offended that sadhu that came here. Maybe this is what's the difficulty. So she sent persons looking for the sadhu. They found the sadhu. And as soon as the sadhu came with Lord Shiva, Krishna smiled. He was very happy. So she said, is there something I can do for you? He said, I just wanted to see your son and have the remnants of his food. So every day, he lived at the base of Nandagram for some time, and remnants of Krishna's food was sent to Lord Shiva, as this happens at the top of the hill to this day. So here's a painting where Nanda Maharaj is brought before Lord Shiva to offer his respects to Lord Shiva. This is the temple at the base of the hill. And this is a parikrama party taking photographs and seeing the temple inside. Here's the front view. There's Anantashesh behind Lord Shiva, and Parvati and everybody is there. Kartikeya, Ganesh. Now, the other temple from the outside looks like this. And when you go inside, here's what you see. Inside, you see Lord Shiva in the form of a gopi. And the history is, at one point in time, Lord Shiva, hearing about Krishna's rasa dance, wanted to participate in Krishna's rasa dance. But he was told, you're not allowed. You have to be in a female form. And so he was very sad. Vrinda Devi, she has a very special role in Krishna's pastimes. Vrinda Devi knew the solution. Vrinda Devi took Lord Shiva to bathe in the waters of Manasarovar and Vrindavan. Lord Shiva emerged from the lake in the form of a beautiful gopi. And then Vrinda Devi took Lord Shiva in her gopi form to one corner of the Rasa Stali. This is from Garga Samhita, the scriptural reference for this. And so when Krishna saw this powerful looking gopi, he said, you can join the Rasa dance by standing by the side of the Rasa Leela, and you can guard the Rasa Leela. And so Gopeshwara Mahadev, there's several deities in Vrindavan. One is right at Radhakund. Another is Vangshivat. There's a Gopeshwara Mahadev. And right here at the bottom of Nandagram's hill, Gopeshwara Mahadev. Here's a painting showing. You see down in the bottom right, there's Lord Shiva in gopi form. And he is placed as the guard, keeping unqualified people away from the rasa dance. This is the Murti of Gopeshwara Mahadev at Vangshivat. Where's Vangshivat? Vangshivat is in downtown Vrindavan, where Krishna played upon his Vangsi, his flute, called the gopis for rasa dance. And Lord Shiva is guarding the rasa dance at Vangshivat. Here's another nice painting of Gopeshwara Mahadev. Now we're almost done. So now if you look at the map, we're going in a westerly direction. We started at Yavat. We went to Ter Kadamba. We saw Pavan Sarovar and Nandagram. And at the base of Nandagram is Asheshavat. Now we're going further west. At the very boundary of Vrindavan, on the other side of Vrindakund, is another state. It's Rajasthan. It's right, the two abut. And here's the temple built by Dinabandhu himself, or arranged by Dinabandhu. And there's a wonderful history. And it's 18 minutes after 8, so I'm going to make this short. But it's wonderful history. The history starts with Rupa Goswami. And if you are newer and need to know a little bit, I've been saying all these names. There's probably some newer people here. You don't know who's who. Rupa Goswami is one of the intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya. And he was sent by Lord Chaitanya to Vrindavan to write books and establish places of Krishna's pastimes. So one of the unfulfilled purposes was finding the deities that Krishna's great-grandson Vajranabha had originally established. The one he couldn't find was Govindaji. So there's a nice story, which I'm not going to tell the whole story, but Krishna helped him find the Govindaji deity. He was buried underground. There was a cow that would come every evening just before milking and drop her milk on a little mound of hill. So Krishna took Rupa Goswami and said, see that wet, moist place every evening. The cow comes and drops her milk. She's performing Abhishek for Govindaji. He's underground. In the morning, you get some local people, and they'll help you dig very carefully. So he dug, and sure enough, there was Govindaji, and he established a temple for Govindaji. And similarly, he had this revelation where Vrinda Devi, this deity, well, here's the deity. There's the Vrinda Devi temple. There's Vrinda Devi deity. Very beautiful. Here's a close-up of the same day. Vrinda Devi's, you see the parrot in her left hand? At one point, so Rupa Goswami had established the Vrinda Devi worship and Govindaji worship. And when there was fear of soldiers coming to smash temples and smash deities, many of the Goswami deities were taken from Vrindavan to Jaipur by Jai Singh. They're taken in bullock carts, and they went from here to there to there to there. And one of the places they went to was the edge of Vrindavan town. And the next morning when they tried to leave, all the deities would move except Vrinda Devi wouldn't move, because she never leaves Vrindavan. And to this day, she's being worshipped in the very same place. Now, over the passage of time, it's a few centuries, the deity was being kept by a family of pujaris. When the most recent pujari had no son, he gifted the deity to Dinabandhu because he knew of his devotion, and asked him to build a nice temple for the deity and care for the deity. So there's the nice temple, very nice temple, simple, but very nice, elegant. And there's Vrinda Devi. So Vrinda Devi, according to what our scriptural teachings say, our acharyas say, is just as Purnamasi, remember her name, Purnamasi? She's Yogamaya personified. Vrinda Devi is Krishna's Leela Shakti. So Purnamasi and Vrinda Devi get together every morning and make the plan for Krishna's pastimes. And Vrinda Devi is the CEO. Purnamasi is the Brahmani. She knows everything. And she makes the plan. Vrinda Devi gets the plan, and Vrinda Devi executes the plan. And it's also said that every morning when Radharani would come to cook for Krishna in Nandagram, because Vrindakund is not far, it's west of, but not far from Nandagram. So Radharani, instead of going home to Yavat, she'd go to Vrindakund. And Krishna, instead of going out with the cows, he'd sneak away and meet up with Radharani at Vrindakund. That was what happened every morning. Every morning, they would get together at Vrindakund. And throughout the day, many, many, many nice things were done. It's some nice descriptions of Vrinda Devi. She's in charge of the whole place. The forest of Vrindavan, she makes the decisions about who does what. And she sent the message out through the parrots. She doesn't have a Google group or, text messages or anything that's, modern way. She just had parrots. And the parrots sent the message. There were two special parrots that would keep track of the activities of Jatila, spy parrots, intelligence parrots, and Chandravali. So if there was anything mischief going on, they would then send back message to her parrot and take care of it. They would make all arrangements. Just like you heard, Vrinda Devi was supplying the costume for Krishna, the Gauri costume. Vrinda Devi does so many things. So many things. All day long from morning till night. I mean, there's a very detailed description. You know, where the peacocks will dance and which gopis are going to take care of the sandalwood and which one's going to take care of the musical instruments when there's a need for who's going to play which instrument. She's the CEO. She's in charge. You know, which birds are going to sing in which place and which way. And she's a very powerful lady. Krishna's Leela Shakti. So much appreciated was Vrinda Devi that one day, wanting to show their appreciation for all of her undaunted service, Radharani wanted to honor her in a special way. So there was a plan. And the plan was that they would have a mock marriage. Lalita and Vishaka made a plan. Radha and her friends fashioned a big throne, big enough for two people to sit on, Krishna and Vrinda. And they sat on the throne, and Vishaka sat Krishna by Vrinda Devi's side, full of laughter, took the role of the priest. And Lalita Saki, assisting the priest, began chanting the mantras that one chants for marriages. And Radha personally is the one that exchanged the garlands between Krishna and Vrinda Devi. And it was fun. They were laughing and laughing and laughing. It was a little mock, wonderful wedding ceremony. And everything was fine and fun until they tied the cloth. When they tied the cloth, Vrinda Devi went, uh-oh. This can't be. So she got up. She tried to run, but she couldn't run because the cloth was tied. And they all laughed and clapped their hands. And there they go, circumambulating the sacred fire. It's a nice pastime. Here's an ISKCON artist that made this nice painting of Vrinda Devi and her many, many, many parents that are under her command and making the plan for Krishna's pastimes. And here's a close-up of the face of this very nice Vrinda Devi deity. So when you go to Vrindavan, you now have some idea of some places to visit. We'll be visiting these places during our parikrama. Okay, it's 8:30. That means we've been at it for about 2 hours, and you've been very patient. Girls, congratulations. I know it's tough when you're young to sit through all of this. Good going. Any comments or discussion? Oh, you're all back here. Okay. Our host and hostess, have you had this many people in your home at one time before?
No.
Yes?
No.
First time. Krishna Katha. I'm preparing myself for Vrindavan. Kartik month starts Sunday. I'm already in the fast lane. It's not Kartik yet. Balaram Prasad, you wanted to say something?
Just behind the pond.
Behind where?
Just behind the Vrinda pond, actually, there is one more.
Vrinda Kund, there's Gupta Kund.
Yeah. Anything on the Gupta Kund?
Gupta Kund, yes. It's at Gupta Kund that Radha and Krishna would meet because they would meet secretly. So not exactly at Vrinda Kund, but at Gupta Kund. They could meet secretly.
I saw a book saying that every day around 8 o'clock in the morning they meet in Gupta Kund. Even today, I don't know if that is true.
Yeah, Gupta Kund. That's their first morning meeting place. They have many meeting places throughout the day. She's talkative, huh? Jibber jabber.
Maharaj, thank you for this beautiful series of classes. It's really brought everything alive, just sitting here and experiencing the pastimes. Maharaj, I had a question that we can see that how in the last episode that you just said, how they were, Krishna and Vrinda was married. It felt like in the spiritual world there's absolutely no envy because each one, Radharani, all the gopis are facilitating Radharani.
Yeah.
So, and it seems like Krishna is, due to that, he's very pleased. And in this way, because Krishna is pleased, he wants to satisfy the desires of those who show no envy. So, it seems like a little bit reciprocal. I was wondering if you can just comment a little bit.
You're doing a pretty good job. The non-enviousness of the gopis is consistent. Now, there is a transcendental rivalry, but it's not enviousness. The transcendental rivalry is for the pleasure of Krishna. And whether exactly they're thinking, I'm going to be a rival of Chandravali is not necessarily thinking, Krishna will like it if I have a rivalry with Radharani. But it's their different moods of love, and because of those different moods of love, the hearts of those who love Krishna move this way and some move that way. And it's moved by, they're within the waves of a river, there's so many different waves. Sometimes a wave will rise, and then another wave will come and hit and collide with that wave, and then from the other side another wave, and then it keeps flowing, and then something else goes up. So the movements of rasa within Krishna's pastimes is everything, and variegatedness is there, but there's no envy. There are different moods, but there's no envy. It's the interest is pleasing Krishna. There's a nice description that when Krishna left Vrindavan to go to Mathura, Radharani knew that Chandravali was also feeling as she was feeling. So Radharani went to console Chandravali regarding her feelings of separation from Krishna. There's transcendental. There's variety and variety and variety within the realm of transcendental. Yes. Microphone.
Swami, first of all, thank you for unraveling various pastimes of Krishna.
You've been listening very carefully. I've been noting how carefully you've been listening. You're a good listener.
No, it was awesome, to experience all this overwhelming joy of Krishna's consciousness. But question from my side would be, it's very typical, if we look at the activities of Krishna just externally, it's very typical to understand the Krishna's consciousness. So what do you think we as a younger generation should perceive, I would say, how we should perceive the consciousness of Krishna the way it is?
How do we perceive? Well, he's unlimited. And unlimited means there isn't something that's not within him. Everything is within him. And he's playful. He's a playful enjoyer. Even when he's fighting with demons, it's playful enjoyment. So the playfulness, just like this, this little boy was hitting the cloth, and this little girl keeps pulling her mother's hair, and she's very playful. So she doesn't mean any harm. She's just being naughty. And she's smiling, knowing that she's being naughty, and she does naughty anyways because she's being playful. So that's within Krishna is everything, and he's enjoying. And sometimes he enjoys, like speaking Bhagavad Gita to Krishna, to Arjuna. Sometimes he enjoys everything because everything is within him. He's Ananda, Anandamayo Bhyasat. And there's within that Ananda, there's everything. And there's variety. So varieties of relationships. It's not only in Vrindavan, there's moods of persons that have other moods of love. So his expansions address those who have other moods of love. Like Narayana in Vaikuntha, there's no playfulness like this. It's something very different. It's Aishvarya, not Madhurya.
Thank you, Swami.
Yeah. He's reciprocating love with everyone. And supposing there are those that are inimical toward, he reciprocates. He doesn't become inimical, but he reciprocates as if he's inimical. Oh, you like to be my enemy? Okay. Okay, I can do that. I'll say harsh things and you say harsh things. And, okay. Is that it? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki.